Hey, what's up, everybody? We have got the one and only Mr. Brandon Rondon. He's a legend in the insurance world, so I'm super excited to have a chance to interview him today. Now that he's been on our service for a little while, how are you doing today, Mr. Brandon?
I'm doing great, Ryan. What about you guys?
Oh man, couldn't be any better. This is
Sir.
great. Well, let's just start it off. You've been with us for a few months now. Give me a quick rundown on how your experience has been working with us. I know that you did some giveaways prior to working with us, so we'd just love for you to share some of your experience.
Yeah, so far, man, it's been, I mean, everything I could think of plus, plus more. I came to you with some of my problems. Problems were my lead costs when I was doing it by myself was 10 to 20 to 40 bucks per lead. And now we're down to 60 to 70 cents per lead, if that. Having to hire more people because we can't keep up, with the leads. I think right now we started like last week of May or beginning of June. And for just that one contest we did, we have over 1,000 leads in there, and none of them are duplicates. And so my guys, man, they're only about halfway through the list, so they're still trying to keep up with them. So we kind of cut off a lot of our other lead sources because we've had so much success with these, and we're trying to get more of them on the phone. It's just hard to get that many people on the phone in that short amount of time. So I just brought one person back on. I'm about to hire two more to have up to 6 salespeople, so they can go through those. They get 200 leads each, and that should last them through the month.
Yeah, awesome. And you guys are absolute monsters with your quote rate. Refresh me on your numbers as far as your lead to quote ratio and then your quote to close.
Yeah, so with these right now, so the ones that we get a hold of, we're quoting about 68 to 74% on those, and out of those quotes that we're doing, and for it to qualify as a true quote for my definitions, is it has to have auto in the household because auto leads to everything, and then they have to present price, and they have to try to overcome 2 or 3 objections. They can't just get information and email it out. That doesn't count as a quote. So there's still a few in there, but we haven't highlighted them as a quote because they don't count in our scoreboard as that. So they have to present price and get 2 to 3 objections, or get a couple objections and try to overcome those for them to count as quotes. And with that, like I said, we're quoting about 68% of those. And then out of the people we're getting a hold of, and out of those that we're getting a hold of, we're selling about 40% of those. So they're doing really good, having really good conversations. When we were with Allstate, it was a lot faster for us to move through. But now that we're independent and we're quoting 5, 6, 7 companies, we're a little bit slower at going through all the quotes. So it's taken us longer. I think that's why we haven't been able to get through as many names, but we're still getting, in June, I think we did 74,000 just off of giveaway ads on there. And it cost me $300,
Wow.
total.
Yeah, and ad spend. That's incredible. And I think you told me the other day about a stat that I found pretty impressive, and that is, I think you said 60% of the people you're closing at a higher cost than their current insurance, right?
Yeah, so I want to share this one call with you. I'll email it to you later on. So the down payment was 972, and then like after that it was like $400 a month because he didn't have insurance. And Alex got him to get the credit card and sold him, submitted it and everything. That was off the giveaway stuff. But my guys, they have to have at least 50% of the sales they have, and we have a premium tracker that Brooke keeps up with that shows what they were paying before versus what they're paying now, and 50% of them have to be higher. Now, if we're saving everybody money just because our rates are so good, then everybody has to, like 80% has to have an umbrella. So I'll make some obsessions where, we're like, hey, they have an umbrella, 250, 500, 100, and we're still saving them 30, 40 bucks a month. Then that's a pass because they got the top tier of everything. But if they have 50, 150 or 100, 300, 100, we have to be more expensive. At least 50% of the time, because then I know they're at least using our talk path and they're not just doing what my mom or my grandma could do and just come here and just sell on price.
Right. Yeah, I hear that so often. Most agencies that I talk to, they primarily sell on price, and if they're not more competitive or if they're captive in some of these markets that they're not quite as competitive in, they struggle. And so I
Yeah.
found that pretty impressive that your talk path is so powerful in that regard. So
Yeah. And a lot of those agents kind of, I mean, they help me, but they hurt me too in the beginning. They hurt me because they, they're training these people to shop on price, but then they help me because they're the ones that aren't going in super detail in coverages and stuff like that, and doing umbrellas and 255 or 100, explaining and all that stuff. So that allows us to come in and kind of be the hero on the back end.
Right. Yeah, that's genius. Okay. And you said, what was it? 73,000 your first month?
So 74,480 and some change, whatever, 74,480 in the month of June.
In the month of June. You want to pull that up and share it on your screen so we can show the world that we're not just blowing smoke?
Let me get to my agency Zoom. It was pulled up, but I got so much stuff. So if we go to my June report, we just switched over to racings now. So we stopped putting stuff in here, but we just switched over just like a day or two ago. So let me go by lead source. And then we go to that. We're at 74,480 and 127 items. So I think our average item for that came down to be, I think, $700 from what we looked at. 74,880. Because a lot of people are asking, what's the average item? Divided by 127. Yeah, so 589, $600 per item for that. So my cost per sale was, I couldn't even tell you, about $4 cost per sale. And so we're making 60, $75 off of each one. So the ROI on that was 10 to 15 times on each policy.
Yeah. And that's just year one, right?
Yeah. That's just year one on it.
Residuals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's phenomenal. How would you say your agents like the program?
So with my guys, so
let's go back. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
So you want to ask that again?
Yeah, sure. And how would you say your agents like the program compared to other lead sources and whatnot?
Yeah, so the ones that we're working them, they're the ones that are selling 50, 60,000 a month in total premium with everything. So they're the ones they're actually kind of fighting for these. So as long as they're going through the process, then they get access to them. If they're not going through the process and don't want to work my process right, well, one, that's a warning and they'll be on their way out. But two, then they won't get access to these leads and they can call through all my requotes or my cold call list that we have on there. At least these people that we're calling, they're either expecting a call or they remember filling something out about about winning tickets or winning the prize or whatever. And so they're calling them and they're getting them kind of excited about this because it's kind of a sneaky thing they say is like, hey, are you sure 4 tickets are going to be enough? And they're like, well, we have, and they say, we don't want to have a home loan situation. We got to leave a kid or two behind. And some people say they need 6 tickets. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll put your name down and we'll guarantee you 6 tickets if you win, and then just go right into the talk path from there and everything. So that's been something sneaky they've been working in there.
That's smart and generous of you guys, for sure. That's awesome. Well, it's definitely it's a change of pace from a lot of the other lead sources, right? Just kind of changes the conversation, gives you something different to talk to people about and to really build a relationship.
Right. Yeah, we got a lot of live transfers and those were very expensive. And I'm slowly cutting my costs down from live transfers. I still have a few come in, but we did have 6 or 7 telemarketers at one time, but now we're down to 1 to 2 every other week. Just to give like some fill in, just in case, my guys, they're making calls, that they're not answering or whatever. It gives us just some sprinkling on this and that. But yeah, my cost on live transfers every week were about $2,200, and now we're down to $600 or $400 a week, depending if we go through 1 or 2 telemarketers. And then this, they're allowed to call. We hit a little snag with their numbers showing up as spam, but we fixed that. And just today alone, they've submitted about $8,000 or $9,000 in premium because we're finally getting people back on the phone because their number is not showing up as spam. But my guys would rather work this than the telemarketer calls, because some of these telemarketer calls, the people that are calling them say, hey, your agent's on the line, I want to talk to you. They transfer them and they're confused and they have no idea why they were transferred. All they heard was your insurance agent wants to talk to you.
And then you're paying like $40 for that, right?
Yeah, 40, $50 on that. And then I can, and so now my guys are struggling harder to overcome that objection because it's like, now we're starting off on a lie. And,
Right.
it's not a way to start a conversation off.
Yeah, for sure. How would you compare giveaway leads to something like EverQuote or Quote Wizard, the internet lead sources out there?
So the internet leads that I know it's a rat race to get to those. It's, you get a lead, so does 5 other agents. And those 5 other agents, you got to be the first one to call. Well, if you get 30 of those right when you come in at 9 o'clock, well, really the first ones you call are going to be the ones that are going to answer. The ones on the bottom list are already going to be called by all these other agents. And so they're either not going to answer, they're going to hang up on you. It's only me calling them.
Right.
So it's only me calling them, and they're not being bombarded by anybody else. And so they're solely mine. Like, I know these they can't be resold because they're entering into my contest. And so when they enter my contest to win everything, they go in a Google spreadsheet that goes into our CRM. And then we assign them to certain plans. So my guys know to call them 1 to 2 times a day to get them interested into getting extra entries for a quote and everything.
Awesome. Yeah, we used to get reports that internet leads kind of tanked morale because a lot of people were mad when you were caller number 10 or caller number 15.
Oh, yeah.
And so
it's either the first person that talks to them that's going to get the sale, or it's the last person that talks to them. If you're anywhere in the middle, you're never going to sell those.
It's a bloodbath.
Yeah. And you're pissed, you're making people mad all day. Like and so it makes my guys, not to say shell up a little bit, but when they talk to 10 people like that are just yelling at them, it kind of messes with their confidence a little bit. And then they get more hesitant. These people are more, if they're not interested, then they're not interested. It's not like, quick, call me, because no one's annoying them.
Right. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. How would you, there's people that have concerns about when they're considering giveaways about the quality of the leads. What would your response be to that, or what would be your assessment of the quality?
So with the quality leads, so they're kind of all over the place. We're getting a lot of homeowners. We have a lot, we have a few renters. We have a few people, still living at home. But for the majority of it, the quality of them is higher than, these live transfer leads we're getting in. A lot of these live transfer leads that we're getting in are older folks, 60, 70, 80, because they live at, they're at home, they're answering their phones to whoever wants to talk to them. These are younger people that are on Facebook and that are either starting to have a family or have a family because they're trying to win these for their kids. And so that allows us to talk about life insurance, health insurance, and majority of them are going to have homes too, because they do have kids. And so the quality of them, I think most of our homeowners last month came from the giveaway ads. I think we had like 60 homeowners last month about 50 to 60 homeowners last month with the giveaway stuff. So the quality is there.
That's awesome. Who do you feel, not everyone's an ideal fit for giveaways, we found. Who would you say is a good fit? If they're thinking about doing a giveaway for their agency, what things would you say they should assess to identify whether or not they'd be a good fit?
So with that, so a lot of the agencies that are going to benefit from this, the owner or the agency owner, or they have to have a sales manager that's involved. I was a salesperson. I know my sales team inside and out. They want to make as much money as they can, the easiest way they can, right? And so if they start coming into trouble and like hurdles within the first couple of calls, and they start complaining, oh, these don't work, we'll go back and listen to the calls and see what's not working. Are they attempting to overcome objections? If not, then you either have the wrong person, or you need to start training them more, or start role playing. We role play this every single day. We're on Zoom every day, so I hear them calling them. I'll mute certain people so I can hear them make outbound calls. I'll pull them in breakout rooms and hey, replay this call real quick, and let's listen to what you said and what they said, and let's figure out a way how you can overcome that objection. If you're not involved with your team, this ain't going to work, because there are going to be some hiccups, and you got to be able to coach your team to overcome that. If not, they're just going to be trying to figure this out on their own. They're going to fail, and then they're going to say, hey, this doesn't work. And when it comes down to it, it comes down to the agency owner or the sales manager. leading the team. Now, I'm not saying because I don't make any calls, but I listen to all their calls and I listen to them and I coach them live on Microsoft Teams and making sure that they're attempting to overcome objections.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen similar things. It's definitely not a great fit for people who, like you said, don't have someone actively, an agency owner who's either selling with them or who is coaching them regularly. We also found that the strategy really lives and dies by your ability to build a relationship with them through the giveaway. When we talk to agencies who have tried giveaways in the past and failed, typically it's because they either run the giveaway and then call them like an internet lead and just offer them a quote, right?
Yeah.
Or I listen to their calls and their guys are just robots, right? And if they can't make a genuine human connection, they're never going to overcome that trust barrier. And then it's you're not going to get near the number of quotes. And so I've heard your guys are phenomenal on the phone, and that's really what it's all about, is about building that relationship and then leveraging the giveaway combined with your relationship to keep them on the line for a quote. And so
yeah, like my guys are, I'm not trying to brag about them or anything, but they
you can brag away.
They can have a conversation with anybody. If there's a brick wall there, they'll talk with it and they'll get that brick wall to talk back to them. They're just really, I mean, we practice so much, just having empathy in our tonality. Like whenever Alex calls, like he's calling them, hey Ryan, hey, this is Alex over here at Rondon Insurance Services. I saw that you entered our giveaway. Now the ad says 4 tickets. Is that going to be enough for you, or do I need to sneak a few more in there so there's no home alone, and just get them to laugh and to interact with them and not to say, hey, I saw you entered the contest. I can give you a quote and give you more entries. Would you like that? They're going to say no every single time. Just you got to have fun within the first 2 to 3 minutes. Ask them who they're bringing with them, what their plan is for that day. See if those tickets will be enough. See if you can score some other things for them. Just people like to see you try, and then get into getting them extra entries for the quote. And I'm telling you that works. Like I said, 70%, 65, 70% of the time we're quoting these people.
It reminds me of a quote, and I wish I could remember who said this, so I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but I remember hearing a quote that said, nobody cares what you know until they know how much you care, right? Yeah. And definitely applies here.
So. That's exactly it. I mean, usually hear some of the, because a lot of the people that we're calling, they have kids from 5 to 12, 13 years old, and they've never been to Six Flags, and they want to go to Six Flags. And so, like, I haven't told anybody this yet, but when we do our live drawing in a few days, I'm actually going to give out like 3 or 4 pairs of tickets, or 3 or 4 sets of 4 tickets, because we've had so much success with it. It's not going to, I'm still going to, my ROI is still going to be 10, 15 times on it, but it's going to just build those relationships more. And I get 60, 70 people watching my live drawing every time we do something. And, we have a lot of fun with it. We'll do Disney trivia, Marvel trivia to get people extra entries. And then we get into the drawing, and then I'll usually give away a few other things too as well.
That's cool. That's a great way to get your name out there and have fun with people.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Sometimes we get concerns with people who say, I think people are just going to be entering this giveaway because they're only interested in winning whatever it is, X, Y, Z. What would your response to those people be?
So, yeah, a lot of these people, I mean, they enter the contest to win. And in there, it shows, hey, if you receive a quote, you can get extra entries on there. There's going to be some people saying, oh, yeah, I just entered to win. I don't want to get a quote or anything. But you got to attempt to overcome those. Like, your guys or your team cannot have that fear of saying, oh, they're only entering it for win. Get creative to get them to have a quote on there. It shouldn't work for one agency and not another agency. It's almost all the same demographics that I think you're targeting here. And the people in Oklahoma City aren't different than the people in Los Angeles. There's still some people that are going to want to get a quotes on there. So your team is going to have to work on overcoming objections, and the way to do that is you're going to have to role play, because it shouldn't work as well for us, and you can't get anything out of it, because it's our number one thing that we're doing right now. You have to go back and listen to your team members' phone calls, show them where they're messing up. And then, like I said, it all starts with the agency owner. If your team complains that the leads aren't good and all they want to do is just enter the contest to win, will entice them more to win. Like, well, hey, tell you what, if you really want to win these, let me give you an extra 25 or 50 entries real quick. All I gotta do is run your simple auto insurance quote, who you insured with, and just roll right into it and make it seem like, my other guy, Kyle, makes it seem like, hey, nobody's taking advantage of this. So if they do take advantage of getting the extra entries, they're going to be on top of the game. So he gets more people to be interested in it.
Yeah, that's great. So in a nutshell, you'd say it really just comes down to some coaching, and essentially what I always like to tell people in that regard is just that people, maybe when they're at Facebook, all they care about is the prize, but once you get on the phone with them and you show them that you're real genuine people that want to take care of them, then that changes. And that's really what makes the difference.
Yeah, there's a good book called The Wedge that I make all my team members read and everything. And we use that philosophy of the wedge in the first 3 to 4 minutes that we're talking to them. And I think that's what allows us to get into the quote too, as well, is using our talk path, using the philosophy of the wedge and getting in between two people or between a company and a person, so you can insert yourself. And that book actually helped me get my wife. I broke her and her boyfriend up 7-8 years ago with just the techniques from that book. They're so good.
Does your wife know that, by the way?
Yes, she knows I use that. I mean, I chased her for a year and she was dating this guy and she wouldn't give me the time of day, and then I slowly interjected myself more and more, and she broke up with him, and now we're married, have 2 kids, but have a 3rd one. So
awesome. That's awesome. So the book's called The Wedge. You'd recommend that to everybody?
Yeah, it's The Wedge. It's just
how on your reading list, everybody.
It's how to get in between two people. But there shouldn't be no reason why my guys are selling households $60, $80 more a month. And some people can't get quotes. It just comes down to the lack of training and overcoming objections and just reviewing your calls. If you're a football player, you're going to go back and watch film. Your film is your phone calls.
Yeah.
You just have to go back and listen and watch it.
Awesome. I'm 100% with you. So, well, Brennan, I really appreciate you taking the time to do an interview with us today. You guys are rock stars. We're appreciative to have you, to call you a client, and keep on keeping on.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for everything that you do. Like I said, you're overwhelming my guys with leads, but it's a good thing. Like, they're stressing out that they can't get to everybody, but I'd rather have a few people we can't get to than not have enough people, and they're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs all day long.
And when it's the choice between a gumball and a lead, right? It's a pretty easy choice.
Yeah. And I'll send you some snapshots of like my guys' talk time, because since we started with your leads, our talk time on average per person is about 4.5 to 5 hours a day out of the 8-hour day. Their minimum is 3.5, but they've been hitting 4.5 to 5 hours. Because when I was doing it myself, I was only generating 220 leads every 3 months, and now we just did 1,000 in 2 months. So, they were running through those people really, really quickly over 3 months, and their talk time wasn't as much as it is now.
That's great. Awesome. Brandon, thanks again.
No problem. Thank you, Ron.